Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the Macaw Podcast universe. My name is Micah.
My name is
Macaw.
Jordan Macaw. This is the podcast that exists to prove people wrong when they say sequels are never better than the originals, and this is an unprecedented episode.
It is. And so I was going to say this as well.
So it is a Jordan classic.
It's a staple of our show.
I'm sick.
If you have your bingo
I'm not
card.
that sick anymore, but I am.
Uh-huh.
But drum roll. Micah is also sick.
Yes. I don't know that we've done
Finally,
a
did
recording.
you start the timer on this?
I did not, but I remembered what time she went to bed. I'm going to add it later.
Okay.
Yeah, this is unprecedented. We are in uncharted waters, I believe. I'm sick and feeling terrible. I'm having a, my brain is not working well. And of course, Talia decided last night was the perfect night to not sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Even though she's like the best sleeper in the world, she's like, but no, not tonight. And so I'm in a delicate place, a very delicate place, as I'm sure you are, but you seem to be handling it a lot better than me.
Well, it's like Pam said on The Office, when one person's freaking out, it makes the other one feel weirdly calm.
Yeah.
I think that's me.
I'm out of my gourd right now. But we're here to finish up, sort of, our first series of the year, which is the Oceans movies. And today we're talking about Oceans 13. So, Jordan, tell me about your first experience with Oceans 13.
I think I watched this movie when you gave me that big stack of DVDs.
Oh, yeah,
years and
classic.
years ago, and this felt like watching the movie for the first time. The only thing I remember is Matt Damon trying to drink with a nose.
Yeah. For me, definitely saw it in theaters. I'm sure Shane was there.
Mm-hmm.
I think I went with the O'Haras. I'm pretty sure. Jack, maybe you can confirm or deny this.
So you were middle school?
Yes, because this came out when we were 8th graders, right?
2007, depends on what time of the year.
Oh, June 2007. So it'd be...
We are becoming 8th graders.
Becoming 8th graders, yes. And we went and
We're
saw
coming
this.
of age, as you, if you, whatever you say.
Going from Mrs. Weekly to Mr. Reed.
Okay. For me, it was Mrs. McMahon. From Miss Jones to Mrs. McMahon.
Wow. Yeah, and so went and saw this movie. Absolutely loved it. And as you've heard with the other two movies, became a staple at the Macaw house. We were shocked to find the other night when we turned this in onto the DVD that this is a movie where the DVD quality is really bad. We wound up renting
unwatchable.
This. Yeah, we rented it even though we had the DVD. It was so bad. It was crazy. But yeah, it just feels like there was a weird period where, like, if you have a DVD that's within like a 5-year gap, it's going to be the worst quality in the world.
It's like the same supplier.
Whoever. And it's like before Blu-ray really took off, but like
everyone kind of still thought maybe Blu-ray was just a scam.
Yeah, I did at the time. And it's like you didn't have like the best TVs in the world at home. And so now it's like this on the old TV we used to watch on, I'm sure it looked great.
Yeah.
But like when you watch it on a high definition like 4K TV, it looks terrible.
Yeah.
So we did wind up renting it from youtube.com. And yeah, this is a fave move of mine. I love this movie, and I'm going to be talking about how good it is throughout.
Okay. Promise?
I promise you. I promise you. So once again, we have...
I do think, since we're just talking about the movie,
please.
This is the weakest one, easily, in my opinion. I still enjoyed it very much, but and I was sick while watching it. But it is the least funniest movie in my opinion.
I was
still funny.
Yeah. I was
funny.
A little surprised that on this rewatch, I would not even go so far as to say it really like slipped down that much, but I was just like, I noticed that it was a little bit lesser in quality. And to me, it had more to do with, like you're saying, it just felt like the rapport between all the actors is still there, but they're doing a little bit less with it than they have in the other two movies. I think that's strictly it for me. That's why this movie's just a little bit below.
Kind of wondering if the premise for me is just doesn't hold up.
Oh, I love
like
the premise.
The other two, in my opinion. I like the heist. I like what they do. I think it's all very entertaining. And so I'm not even saying it's bad.
Yeah.
I'm not. But I think it just didn't grip me in the same way as the other two.
Sure. I think Pacino just really takes this movie.
Oh, he's great.
If it wasn't Pacino, maybe this movie would really be suffering. But
he's so good.
The relationship between the characters really covers it through. And I discovered something shocking that I had not heard. That
George Clooney is even more handsome in each movie you see.
Yeah, he might be the most handsome in this one because he's
just... Which is, I don't know.
There's almost something about the fact that he has even less dialogue and he's just kind of walking around looking at people that you're like, damn, this man looks good. But I found out something shocking that's pretty exciting to me.
Let's talk about it right now.
I'm going to. In an interview on December 13th, George Clooney said something pretty...
Of 2023?
Of last month. Because, this episode's coming out in January. So... when we were watching this movie, I was like, you know what? Somebody needs to make a movie that has Matt Damon, Brad Pitt, and George Clooney again. We need like one more hurrah with these guys. It doesn't necessarily have to be Oceans, but we need these guys together because when they're acting together, it's just kind of electric in a way that I can't cite any other examples that are like to this caliber. And maybe it's because I watched these movies on repeat when I was a kid, but it just feels so iconic to me.
When you were a kid watching these movies, did you think you could ever be as cool as any of these people?
I don't think I did.
Yeah.
I don't think I did.
No one can.
No. I think you're a fool to believe that you could do that. But I found out that George Clooney said in this interview, he said, there's a script for another Oceans movie, and it's fantastic.
Wow. Cool.
And I'm like, okay, that's a little bit scary.
Yeah.
But you can see I have a huge smile on my face. Well, and he said, something along the lines of like, not sure how, if it'll happen or whatnot, but it's, we're thinking about it and tossing it around. And I know that Matt Damon has expressed interest in returning. I think Pitt has. I'm not sure. I'm sure he would get on board though. And I did find out that after this movie, Soderbergh was like thinking about and working on another movie. Thinking about another Oceans movie, but then Bernie Mac died and they didn't do it.
Oh, okay.
And then they did Ocean's 8. And then there's something else we're going to talk about that shocked me to my core. But then this thing came out with George and like in 2021, Cheadle had said that Soderbergh was working on an Oceans movie.
That's pretty recent.
And so I think it would be like an Oceans movie directed by Steven Soderbergh.
Whoa.
I know.
Who directs the Ocean's 8? I know we'll find out next
Gary
week.
Ross.
Who's that?
Maybe one of the worst ideas for someone to direct a movie.
Oh,
we'll talk about it next week.
Okay.
It's just strictly
keep
a studio filmmaker who doesn't have auteur in their blood.
This feels like we're done with the series today. That's how much I'm forgetting of Ocean's 8.
Yeah.
And it sucks that we have to watch that.
It will be fun to finally get it.
Interesting for sure.
Yeah.
Having watched the other ones so like back to back.
Yeah.
But
the takeaway that I always see from people is like, this movie isn't that bad. It's just not directed by Soderbergh, so it kind of sucks.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? It's like it just doesn't have the flair that like he puts into these movies.
I just always think of the Sunny episode when they do the Boss Hogs. That's not his name. But they do the plane, the drinking beer on the plane, but it's the girls reboot.
What is
Isn't Boss Hogs the Dukes of Hazzard guy that the D keeps talking about?
I think so.
Anyway, they do a girls reboot.
Beat Boggs. They're trying to beat Boggs. That's the baseball player's last name.
And all the other women are just keep saying like, why do we have to do what the guys do? Why can't we just do our own thing? The whole time she's like, no, we have to do it this way. We have to do it better. It's just a really funny episode.
That is funny. We are good, and we're gonna get into all that next week.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there is potential, and it sounds like George has said it probably wouldn't be called Ocean's 14. They just mentioned that, which means they're already batting around the title.
I know. This is like basically done.
And
right?
the idea is there's an old movie called Going in Style, which is about like older guys robbing something or someone.
Love it.
So that would be maybe kind of the homage kind of idea where it's like we're all older, one last job kind of thing.
Has these 3 movies been written by the same person?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I believe they've all been different. And I'm also realizing I forgot to look up what the other writers did. So I'm pulling that up right now. And maybe you could tell me about any new actors in the series.
Yeah, for new actors. Well, have we covered Pacino?
No, we have not. And everybody knows who Pacino is, but could you, for my sake, could you give me like 4 before and 4 after on this?
Yeah, hold on. We're both looking up stuff now.
Insomnia On would be perfect for me.
Okay. Well, in 2003, he's in The Recruit, The Merchant of Venice, a video game. He is Scarface in a video game.
Okay, cool.
In 2006, 88 Minutes is also in 2007. I remember that movie.
I remember that movie too.
And then that's the same year as Ocean's 13. 2008, Righteous Kill. That's him and De Niro. 2010, You Don't Know Jack, which is a TV movie.
Well, and we never knew who he was. We never knew Jack.
You don't know him. You can't. Jack and Jill, apparently, as Al Pacino. So I have no reason to watch that movie now that I know that spoiler. Stand Up Guys. And that's, generally covering what you wanted.
Right. Okay. Well,
but of course, guys, Godfather and Serpico, Leave the Gun, Take the Cannoli, yada, yada, yada. And then...
Well, so before we get off Pacino, I just wanted to say that growing up, I believe that this was probably how I was introduced to Pacino. And he's quite flamboyant in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I've heard, critics and people who talk about Pacino who grew up with him, like Godfather and on. And they kind of talk about how, like, from Scent of a Woman on, he's been just like...
Hoo-ha-ha, apparently.
Yeah, hoo-ha, like way over the top.
Okay.
And I've noticed in my watching of his movies, most of those movies you mentioned, I have not seen. I've seen 88 Minutes.
Yeah.
But I know Insomnia is like early 2000s or mid 2000s. This is late 2000s. And then there's some, there's some stuff that falls off, but there's some nuggets here and there. And I have my personal little theory that I think I've solidified on Pacino. And that is not that he got crazier, but he just wasn't picking the right roles for a period of time.
Okay.
Because we watched Heat. He is huge in that movie. He is so over the top. It's bananas, and it absolutely works.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually moments in like the Godfather movies where he's a little over the top, and it works.
Mm-hmm.
Serpico, he's big in that movie.
I would like to watch that movie again.
I know, that movie's amazing.
Who made that movie?
Sidney Lumet.
Oh, right.
Dog Day Afternoon, he's big.
Yeah, he's big.
Like, so I think it's a little bit of a misnomer, in my opinion, for people to be like, oh, yeah, he really, like, sucked after Scent of a Woman because he just, like, was acting too much.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he's been acting too much in all of his movies, but he's been with parts that really worked. And so I think this is a shining example of, and even in Insomnia, he's really good in Insomnia.
Yeah. They're pretty quiet.
Yeah.
Role, but yeah.
But even his quiet is like, it's not like Jesse Plemons' quiet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's still a big actor. Mm-hmm. He's Al Pacino, But in this movie, I think it's just perfect. It's like the perfect encapsulation of his like non-gangster iconic roles, where he really is playing on like everybody thinks this guy is so over the top, and it's just perfect casting, and he is in the zone. Mm-hmm. And again, it's like if it's maybe if it's not Steven Soderbergh, maybe this performance is messy.
Yeah,
but it's Steven Soderbergh and a great cast, and so he is just like I just love it, and I don't think that he has had such a fallow period as people claim by his talents.
Sure.
The movies, yes, but as talents, I think they've kind of always been there.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
He's fun in 88 Minutes, from what I remember from that terrible movie.
The movie sucks.
But he's still doing it. But, I'm sure he's got some sleeper. But do you know what I mean? Am I making any sense?
He's in so many things, they can't all be good. That's I know that there are periods. So, I agree with you. This is a period where, not this, but kind of around this period. He's just got some real stinkers. But you've been acting for this long. You're going to have stinkers. Yeah. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah. So, yeah. Also, in this is Ellen Barkin, who plays his right-hand man, Abigail Sponder. She is also in The Fan, Drop Dead Gorgeous.
The Fan?
The Fan.
Okay. I've seen that.
What is that?
That's a Wesley Snipes, Robert De Niro joint where Wesley Snipes is a baseball player, and then Robert De Niro stalking him.
Oh, that's interesting. Why?
It's good.
Okay.
But it's not great. I think Hans Zimmer did the score, and I remember
really
it being really weird. It was a weird score, but it's like that was fun to see those two actors more than a good delivered premise.
She's also in The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension.
That's come up twice now on this podcast.
Why is that?
I don't remember.
John Lithgow's in it. Jeff Goldblum's in it. Christopher Lloyd is in it.
We probably talked about it with Christopher Lloyd.
And we're probably like, we gotta watch this movie. It looks
What's the plot of it again? I have it on my watch list.
Brain surgeon, rock musician, Buckaroo Banzai, and his crime-fighting team, the Hong Kong Cavaliers, must stop evil alien invaders from the 8th dimension who are planning to conquer Earth. I don't need to even know who's in the movie to want to watch that.
That sounds like it's a 10 out of 10 easy. And do they have 3 of those? Because that's going on the schedule.
Sure, let's just pretend there is. She's also in This Boy's Life, The Outlaws, Poker Face. Blah, blah,
she was in Poker Face.
Yeah.
Would it be too much trouble to find out which ep?
Yes.
Probably. Okay.
Her character's name was Kathleen something.
Well,
And then, who else should I focus on?
I think that's kind of all the newbies.
Oh, the guy that plays the diamond.
Okay, that'd be great.
David Paymer. He was great.
David
Shorty,
Paymer, yes.
State and Maine, The American President, In Good Company.
He's got to be in Rat Race, right? Isn't he in Rat Race?
He seems like he would be, right?
I just remember. Do you remember how much of a phenomenon that movie kind of was as a kid?
I want to watch that again, and then I also want to watch It's a Mad whatever world. I want to watch those movies again because I remember watching them as a kid and was like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
But it's awesome because my dad liked it.
I remember loving Mad World, but that movie I think is 3.5 hours long.
Yeah, it's so long.
And it's like a comedy that's 3.5. Although 3 Idiots was 3.5 hours long, and that's a comedy.
Is?
Yeah, it's Indian, baby. They don't.
Oh, I'm thinking of.
They don't turn in any movies
I'm thinking
under
of
3.
a different movie. The one that has.
Are you talking about Paul Rudd, our idiot brother?
Nope.
Come on, Jordan.
Keep going, and I'll look it up.
Okay. Well, let me tell you about who made the movie. Okay, we got Steven Soderbergh behind the lens, both as
4 Lions.
Oh yeah, that's a good movie.
Yeah,
that's Riz Ahmed, right? That's probably the first time I saw Riz Ahmed.
Maybe.
Yeah, that is a wild. Although that I feel like that'd be a tough movie to watch right now. Although that's kind of the point, if I remember right.
I mean, yeah, I think that is.
It was also made. Yeah. So directed by Steven Soderbergh, and he is also the cinematographer. If you are looking at your notes and you're going, I thought Peter Andrews was the cinematographer, see our first episode. It's his pseudonym. And then writing, we have Brian Koppelman and David Levian, and they are partners. They're writing partners. Cool. And so they wrote Rounders, and then I think they also did The Illusionist.
Never seen that movie.
I know, that was such a...
Well, that came out from my memory around the time as The Prestige, and it was like, which
The
one will
Prestige
use?
just ate its lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although now I'm wait, what does it say? It says, oh, he was a producer for The Illusionist. Never mind, I'm sorry. Because I looked at that movie and I'm like, he's not on there. It's an illusion, Michael. Yeah, but Ocean's 13 and Rounders are the big ones. And I know Rounders is like a gambling movie, so I haven't seen it, but that makes sense. And then once again on music, we have David Holmes. The movie comes out June 8th, 2007. It has an $85 million budget. It makes $117 domestic and $311 worldwide. Does pretty okay. Julia Roberts and Catherine Zeta-Jones do not return for this movie because the script didn't really offer them anything of significance.
Okay.
Seems fair.
Yeah, I don't really have a problem with it.
Yeah, I think it's a little weird that, and I had forgotten that Julia Roberts is not in this movie. I think I always forget because she feels so
I think you could figure out something for them to do if you felt like you needed to put them in it.
Yeah.
They're pretty, I mean, they're great characters and they work well with ensemble-wise, so.
Yeah.
I think I would like, I do wish that they were in it.
Well, Catherine seems really easy because in the last movie, she like got with her, like met her dad.
And she's like, kind of like, I'm accepting this
Yeah, so it seems like she could have come in and been like, hey, I'm running a federal investigation. Like, she could have almost been Matt Damon's dad, you know? But anyway, I'm not sure how they could have done it with Julia Roberts. I'm sure they could have figured out something, though.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? There is something to be said for... this is kind of an excuse I'm giving the filmmakers, but it's almost worse to have a character in a movie that you don't do anything with than to not have them in the movie.
Especially a female character.
Yeah. And they made up for it because Ocean's 8.
Gosh.
Well, we'll see. Hey, maybe we'll be huge defenders of it. But couple things about this movie. Did I tell you that they constructed a fake casino for the movie?
No, they did.
Yeah, I mean, they still shot at some casinos, but a lot of it's this fake casino that they made, which is cool. And then Topher Grace was going to be in it, but he was too busy with Spider-Man 3.
As one is.
Yeah. And then finally, I could have saved this for the next episode, but I just had the gut reaction of what I read. So, yes, we have the Clooney news that maybe there's going to be another Ocean's movie. But I found out something that I think is one of the silliest things I've ever heard. They're
doing an all-baby cast.
You're not too far off.
No, dogs.
No. You're getting caught on the wrong thing. They're doing a prequel movie starring Danny Ocean's parents, which of course will be played by the Barbie alum Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling as his parents.
Stop it.
And I just have to...
I am pissed off.
I just have to say something. First of all, I love Margot Robbie. I love Ryan Gosling. Okay?
Oh, of course.
But it's a... What in the world is the point of making... Like, we've become so franchise obsessed, and Marvel has, like, broken everything because everybody wants a connected universe, and they want to be able to say, here's an Ocean's movie that guarantees $100 million minimum. Just by the name. That's all studios want. They don't actually care about the connectiveness. But what is so frustrating to me is the Ocean's movies exist in our world. It's just the Ocean's movies. So if you do a prequel about his parents, you should just make a good movie that's about two people who have a son that one day becomes a thief. It shouldn't be connected to Ocean's 11 at all. Because it's going to rely on it... To have a prequel in a world that's full of normal people that are just really cool and suave means they're going to have to add like mythos or something.
What I don't get about it.
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
I know that it's Ocean's possessive crew. I know that. But it's so ensemble. To me, it's not like he's the main character. The first movie, of course, like it is a lot of personal stakes are in it. And that's part of the conflict of that movie. But then by the second movie, it's, it's more of a Brad Pitt thing.
But even still...
And this movie, it's like, I guess it's more of a Ruben thing. But like...
Yeah.
Everyone, it's just the one thing why this franchise is so good is they all have their own part to play.
Yeah.
So that's why it doesn't make sense for me that they would make a prequel and they're... Like you guys all love Danny Ocean the best. So we're going to do it for him.
So it'll be a prequel and we won't see George Clooney?
Exactly.
Like we're not here because we love the pathos of Danny Ocean.
No, we like seeing George Clooney, the actor, the man, lived and breathed, wearing a tux, or in Jordan's preference, a black turtleneck.
Yeah. But it's this other thing that I just don't need. It's something that comic books are obsessed with, which is familial relations. And even in comic books, I get tired of it.
Yeah.
But it's like, things don't have to be lineage. Like someone can just be a thief.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you are an artist and you write, and your parents don't do either of those two things. It's not like it had to be passed down to you. And comic books are like what I would imagine like originated that, or maybe it might even be like a Greek story archetype or something that's like the sins of the father or the mother or whatever. But I really don't need to see Danny Ocean's parents in this series. And we already have characters who have related people that are thieves. So it's like, is this a John Wick thing where everyone's a thief now in this world?
I just don't care for it. And they're going to try and do like, and this heist was bigger and better than them robbing 3 casinos.
Yeah.
Or them dueling it out with the best thief in the world. Or them taking down the richest man in Las Vegas to help his friend.
Yeah.
I don't care whatever they have.
I know. It's just, it is so infuriating to me that this is something that's going to happen. Hopefully it'll fall apart.
Yeah.
Hopefully, like, especially with George Clooney's recent comment, they'll be like, let's put this on hold and let's see what this does.
And yeah.
And then by then, it's, but it's just.
He's directing a movie that's coming out. Didn't we just see a trailer for it?
The Boys in the Boat.
Oh. That looked boring.
It looked really boring. And at least one review is out, David Ehrlich, and he's like, hey, you got to respect the guy for putting out movies like this, but this is pretty boring. Yeah. So we need Clunes back. And then my final note before we get started on the movie is we're watching this movie, and Clooney looks better than ever. This might be his best look. And I'm just thinking to myself, now you and I are Batman and Robin defenders. Go listen to our episode. That movie's kind of great.
Yeah.
It kind of rocks.
Yeah. It's the Batman movie we need right now.
It is. Absolutely. I agree with you. But, I don't remember George Clooney leaving that much of an impression. He's just kind of in the movie, but the movie's so zoinks crazy. It makes sense. But watching this movie, I was like, we were a little bit deprived of having like multiple Clooney Batman movies because he's so good as
he's a
the
great
Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
So if they could have really, something that's split the difference between Schumacher and Nolan, he would have really nailed, I think.
Sure.
I think he's not quite zany enough for Schumacher.
No.
But not serious enough for Nolan.
But it's also like maybe we needed the straight man, maybe pun intended, but maybe we needed the straight man because... You can cut this out, but Joel Schumacher was gay.
Oh.
But
we don't need to cut that out, I don't think.
We like he was like the straight man for this crazy world. So he might work more than we think he does.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
And remember, he does have nipples on his bat suit.
Which is great. He's going for the Adonis look. He says it in the features and stuff. I get it.
Great. Okay, but are we getting into the movie now?
Yeah, let's get into the movie.
I
love how this movie starts because it's like this tracking shot.
I do think though. Okay, so going back to Julia Roberts and Catherine Zeta-Jones not being in this. Zeta?
It's Catherine Zeta.
Zeta?
I think I've heard it both ways.
Kappa, Gamma.
Yeah.
Really, really early in the movie, there's a throwaway line of why they won't be in it.
Yeah.
Which is like, great. Let's just like get it over with at the top. And
they just said it's not their fight.
That's all he said. And I do think, I just thought it was kind of funny. It's not their fight as he's running upstairs. And it's like, what are we fighting for?
Yeah, apparently, when I was researching it, like, they were saying that was like a meta, like, kind of in joke of like, well, this movie didn't serve them well, so this is not their fight. They're not going to be a part of it, I don't know.
Okay.
But
what?
but there's part of me that like, because I've seen this one the least amount of times, and it's just like if I'm gonna watch the Ocean's movies, I start with 11. So I've always seen 11 the most and 12 the second most, and then this one. I never just like I'm gonna watch 13. Yeah. Although maybe I'll start doing that. Like I couldn't remember that Julia Roberts wasn't in it, and when they said that it's not your fight, I couldn't remember exactly how the movie went down. And so I was thinking, oh, is this like the last movie where Matt Damon keeps being like, she looks like, and they're like, shut up. So that it was setting up later, like another person would be like, dude, it's not their fight. And then they
bring in Mike Tyson. And it's his fight. Well, Las Vegas, Mike Tyson fight.
Yeah. No, I followed you. It was a very unexpected.
I do. Okay.
He would save his talents for The Hangover.
Okay, so how long is this movie?
2 hours.
Just 2 hours? Okay.
Like 2 hours, 2 minutes or something like that.
I like how it is told.
Yeah.
So, we learn immediately that Ruben is very ill.
Yeah. And before you talk about what it's told, I just got to talk about this tracking shot.
Okay.
We're following someone who has like a balaclava on, and they walk into a convenience store.
What?
And the camera's behind them. Just watch. You'll remember. And so you're like, oh, this is interesting. Like, I'm thinking an Ocean's movie is going to start with someone robbing a convenience store. And then this person walks through this huge like break in the convenience store that goes into another room where there is a safe. And I'm just like, that's just clever right then and there.
Yeah. No, that's great. I forgot about that. And it's Brad.
Yeah, and then he gets a call.
He's seemingly working with his own crew.
Yeah.
And okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Takes off his mask, and he goes, "What happened?" And he's like, "Okay." Hangs up the phone, leaves the job.
He says, "We're done."
Yeah, and they're like just standing there, and you can see that they're kind of like, "What?"
Great.
Yeah.
So, am I wrong in thinking that because then we see a scene with this is before Ruben got sick. This is when Clooney is trying to convince Ruben to not go in business with Pacino.
That's a flashback. So
I know it is, Ruben, but let's get to the flashback because just to make sure.
Yeah.
It sounds like they're kind of arguing that. It sounds like Rusty's still in the hotel business, and because he's not doing well. He still has to rob. He still has to be a thief to basically pay for that business.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that touch.
Yeah, and I think Ruben's kind of like, I want to do it legitimate at this point.
That's right.
And so he has to partner with Pacino in order to be legitimate.
Okay.
And do this big grand thing.
Okay. And Danny, just like everyone else, is warning him not to do it.
Yeah.
Advising him.
Yeah. Because everybody says that this, what's his name?
Well, his last name is Bank. Because it's the bank casino.
Yeah. That Bank is like not to be trusted, and he screws everybody. And then, of course, he screws Ruben, which gives him a heart attack.
I guess I'm not a business person. It just seems so simple. Where it's almost a tiny bit unbelievable. Where they're at the casino that's being built, and Ruben's like, so this is where our desks will be. And Bank's like, no, one desk. Yeah. One boardroom, one board man.
Pacino, man.
I like the reveal and all.
Yeah.
But where, it's like, no, I'm just doing it all myself. Yeah. And you're going to sign off and you'll get your small cash payment. Yeah. And this is right after Ruben rattled off all this list of like all the stuff he's getting taken care of. Yeah. And it just seems so simple that Bake is like, no, that's not how it's going to happen. And it's like, what? Wouldn't it be in the real life? Not that easy, but I know it's like money can do anything. So
I feel like it's like very, very possible and doable because we're living in America, dude.
Okay,
this is like the place where as long as you have more money, you can screw anybody you want.
Okay,
but I also feel like if they got into the minutia, it's like it would probably be like complicated. Where it's like actually on page 13, I had this like
I
whatever.
Guess maybe something that feels a little unbelievable maybe is that Ruben would be in this position where it would completely gut him.
Yeah.
And that he would even feel the need to open a casino with this guy.
Yeah.
After all the stuff that we've seen them do.
I think he just loves Vegas though. He's a Vegas man. I'm just trying to
No, it's fine. It's just I think this which is the whole catalyst of the story is just not it doesn't quite do it for me.
Okay.
Not a bad movie, though. Still very entertaining.
Yeah. I guess it's just one of the things you're bringing up are things that I've never questioned. And for me, on just a personal level, it's like, I don't really care.
I mean, at the end of the day, we got to have a reason to have a heist. This is it.
Right.
And you know what? I'm fine with that.
Yeah. To me, it's like the same amount of motive as the Night Fox, where it's like, I want to be the best. It's like, why do you want to be the best? I want to be the best.
But that has more intrigue for some reason. Maybe just because he's French, and that we go international in the sequel.
Yeah. But to me, this one's like, okay, he tried to do it, he got screwed. There's our premise. Let's go. And it's fun that they're doing a revenge heist.
And I like that they do because they have to say this, but at a certain point, they're like, we're making this personal, which is what you're never supposed to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Which they've done in all of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do like how he's up there and he's like, we shook Sinatra's hand. There's a code amongst guys who've shook Sinatra's hand. And then he's like, yeah, I don't care. I don't care about Sinatra. Which also...
It plays into the original. Or the first Ocean's 11.
That's exactly what I was trying to say. Couldn't get there, though. So then we also see that Clooney visits Al Pacino. And I guess I just kind of love how watching these movies so close together. Ocean's 11, I mean, come on. It's great. It just like ticks along. The second movie is so convoluted, it's hard to keep track of everything. I love that about it, and I think that's great. But it is like you really have to think. I love how this movie, it is just like 5 minutes in, and it's like, okay, we're starting the heist. Like we're like doing it.
Yeah. So I like that the first act and a half.
Yeah.
Basically, going into the second act is them telling. So they're telling Roman basically the plot.
Oh yes, I loved this.
It's
montage.
cool, and it's pretty long.
Yeah.
They fly him all the way in.
Yeah, and he's like, okay, this will be $100,000 if it's gonna
for one day
take
work.
Like, another day I'll have to charge you more.
But they're going through the plan, and he's like, oh, okay, so this is the problem. They're like, no, we figured that out.
They're like the roulette tables. No, that's not gonna be.
And it's great because
blackjack.
They're explaining to us how they're gonna do everything.
Mm-hmm.
Then we get to the problem, and their security system at this new hotel and casino is like AI. It is AI, so it's unhackable.
Yeah. Right.
The only thing that could potentially give them 3 minutes of free time to do what they need to do is a natural disaster.
Yeah.
And then they figure out their convoluted ways that they can like create an earthquake.
Right. And also before that, I just got to point it out. That scene is awesome, and it's a great way to be like, this is the third time around. Like, we're not going to dilly-dally here. We just need to get it going.
Yeah.
And that's I love how streamlined the movie is.
Yeah.
I mean, perhaps it could breathe a little bit more so we could have more character moments.
Yeah.
Because that seems to be what's lacking. But even still, there are still a lot of character moments. It's just like maybe a couple more Pitt and Clooney jokes hanging out together would be nice.
Yeah. I do like that. I feel like they do it in this one more than the other ones, but it'll start a scene and they're in a conversation.
Yeah.
And they're talking about a memory or someone's telling a story or
a joke or whatever.
Yeah, and we're like halfway through it. I like that.
I always love when someone tells a joke in a movie and it cuts halfway through and you sit there and you're like, how did they get there? Where they're like, so I told him the pig was under the dresser the whole time. And everybody starts laughing and you're like, huh.
Well, the one I really like in this movie is, well, she told me that she liked surprises, but she doesn't like surprises. Well, yeah, and then she told me to put the towel back on.
But yeah, before that, there is a flashback again of Clooney going to Al Pacino, and he's like, "Hey, are you going to make things right or not?" And
I thought this was like, after what happened to Ruben.
Yes,
the flash.
Yeah, but this is before
all this other stuff talking to Roman about what they're doing.
So and he basically says, "Well, I'm going to warn you, like you got to make things right." And he's like, "I'm not going to." Yeah, and he goes, "Okay then." And Pacino's like, "Come on, you can't touch me. I'm untouchable." It's like he hasn't even seen Ocean's 11 and 12. What an idiot. So, then there's also the explanation of how there's this 5 Diamond Hotel Awards. Is she waking up again?
Yeah. Let's just let her figure it out for a minute.
Yeah. We think Talia might be sick for the first time, and
I think this is kind of a classic sleep regression.
It's a nightmare right now. I'll be surprised if we get through this podcast no less than 10 stops. I think we're up to like 4 already.
Okay, so yeah, that's the Diamond Awards. Bank has like 5 hotels, and he's won it every time, and the award is a diamond necklace.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I think you buy, but you like won the diamond necklace, but you still have to buy it because he.
I thought he bought one anyway in celebration, but maybe you're right.
I think that's what it was. Yeah. So that's his hubris.
Yeah.
Kind of. So
the deal is the scam is they're going to steal $500 million from him.
Yeah, they want to break the house. The house will not win this.
Yes, that's what it is. And the whole idea is everyone wins that night. That's how they're breaking.
Yeah.
It. So it's like, I do like that idea where it's like, it's not about them making money.
Yeah.
It's about everyone making
money.
They're
occupying Wall Street, for example. Yeah. This is, and it's also cool because they have this fun device where I don't think we actually explained it when we said the problem is the AI thing.
You're just talking.
Okay. We have this AI thing that can analyze how people react. Did you already say this?
No, I didn't.
Okay, we've paused it 30 times since the last time I said we paused it. And this thing like can tell if someone genuinely won or if it was cheating or rigged. So they have to. What's fun is the game on this one is like, how do we get people to win and they think they won? So they have to rig all of this stuff, and then they have to be the ones that don't win the money.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it'll set it off.
Yeah.
Great. So, then they get a scene that always sticks with me, as I wonder if this really does work for a lie detector. They have what's his name? The tech guy.
Yeah.
Have a tack in his shoe, so that he's always like pushing down on a pressure point, and he's always sweating and always like shaking and nervous for every question they ask. So he's consistent the whole time.
Yeah.
So he passes the lie detector test and is able to work there, and he's going to be working on the blackjack
card
dealer.
Yeah.
Stuff. Yeah. They're also, Roman also explains that they're analog players in a digital world, which I like. And yeah, you already said.
And Roman knows the person who created this.
They went to college with him.
Security system, so that's why they're like, well, you do know how to break this or whatever.
Yeah, and Roman's going, no, I don't know how to do it. But then act of God. Then they think, okay, we have to fake an earthquake.
Yeah.
So at some point in all this, they start drilling underground so they can get there, and then Rusty goes up to Al Pacino's office as a fake, like,
a seismograph reader, earthquake man.
Yeah, and he's like
convincing him like to make changes that are too late to make, or like stall his grand opening or whatever.
Yeah.
So that they can properly make the building safe.
And you just love that, like, the amount of things that you would have to have planned. I mean, Danny Ocean and his crew are smarter than any villain to ever grace the pages of Marvel or DC, because this conversation is accounted for. Because at the end of the movie, when everyone's evacuating, he's like, where are they going? Where are they going? And the guy's like, you put in place an evacuation plan. And it's like, even that was part of the plan. Should we?
But this is a way to get a camera in his office too.
Yes. And
now it's time to get the baby.
Yes. And just like that, we're back. And the baby has joined us. She should be asleep, totally, but she is not. And so hopefully she'll fall asleep while we're recording.
Look at her. She's not falling asleep.
No, this is going to be a long night. Luckily, I have to get up tomorrow early. It's all working out just as I had hoped.
Could sleep in the car?
Yeah, that's true. I'm hoping to sleep. Anyway, you folks don't need to know about that. Meanwhile, Linus is given Basher's letters to Saul, and he has to go read them to Saul, and he's trying to read these heartfelt letters that are supposed to bring him back, because he's kind of in a catatonic state.
Mm-hmm.
And he's too, like,
embarrassed
macho man to do it. Funny. That's funny.
Yeah.
Matt Damon's really funny in this movie.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. And then we have this sequence where they're dirtying up the hotel, right?
Yes.
Clooney and Pitt go into this specific room, and they put like bed bugs there and like weird stuff in the shampoos and conditioners and all this stuff. And they're dressed as maids and stuff. And then they leave. We don't know why, right?
Nope.
But then
cool montage.
Oh yeah. It's kind of like fading in and out. It's like you said, very Breaking Bad-esque.
Not the montage. Well,
that montage was like very Breaking Bad.
The whole movie feels Breaking Bad-esque just because I feel like we get really in the dirt of how they're scamming things down to like how the dice are made.
Yeah.
And whatnot. That stuff Vince Gilligan lives and breathes.
Maybe he saw this movie and
minutia.
he's like, we gotta have this in Breaking Bad. Because was Breaking Bad out by this time?
By 2007?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it ended in like 2013 or something, 2015. Yeah, I don't think it had aired yet. But anyway, all that to say, they're dirtying up the hotel, and then Saul shows up, getting ready for the grand opening, and he pretends that he's the Five Diamond guy without saying it.
Yes.
And so they start treating him so well.
Uh-huh.
Meanwhile, they have a girl on the inside who is at the concierge, and she starts treating the actual Five Diamond guy terribly.
Yes.
And so he gets put into this hotel, and he basically
has the worst time in his life. I like by the end of the movie that they take care of him.
Yeah, he's like the final shot of the movie. But yeah, his whole thing is he gets like bed bugs. He tries to get a reservation and he can't go to the reservation. He gets food poisoning. They make sure that they planned the food poisoning. They knew which dish he was going to order. These guys are the best. Yeah, so they screw this guy, and then they're treating Saul really well, right? Mm-hmm. Does that kind of conclude that? Hopefully,
ensuring that he doesn't get the
Five Diamond award.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
that's like adding more stink to what they're already doing to him.
Oh yeah. And it is funny when they say something earlier on where they're like, "Do we really want to put somebody through this?" And it's before you know what they're gonna do. And so it is nice that at the end of the movie they give him a moment.
Yeah, where he wins
a big moment, $10 million. Yeah. Yeah, that was funny. That reminded me of I've flown out of Vegas once or twice, and they truly do have those casinos set up like in every terminal.
Wow.
So that people can just keep it rolling. Mm-hmm. But meanwhile, Casey Affleck is down in Mexico, I think.
Yep.
And
where they make the dice, and they're
making dice. Yeah.
They're making the dice there, and he's obviously they're gonna make dice that are, what are they called?
They're like weighted or something, so that they always hit, snake eyes or whatever.
Yeah. And while he's down there, though, they're not even making a livable wage. It's long hours. It's hot. There's no air conditioning, and he basically inspires the workers to fight for rights.
Yeah.
Which puts a wrench in the whole plan because they need those dice.
And you know what's funny? I think every time I watch this movie, I think, oh yeah, the revolt's like all part of the plan, but it's actually not.
No, it's so funny. And then I love it when it gets to the time where they have to figure that out. And they're like, well, they're demanding $36,000. And they do the math of like all the workers there. It's like, okay, it's this $1 million. I'm like, no, they just want $36,000.
Period. Not per person. And they're like,
oh, that's chump change for them. So it's like, okay. And then his brother gets down there and they finish the job.
Yeah, they edit the dice. I mean,
yeah.
And then meanwhile, there is the Night Fox is following them the whole movie, and that's fun that he's there. I always forget if he helps them or doesn't.
Yeah.
He doesn't help them. Now I will probably always remember that.
Yeah.
And what's funny is Terry. So I don't think we've talked about them enlisting Terry yet.
And why do they do it? What happens in their plan where that's like their best option?
So it's like the next scene. So this is perfect. What happens is their drill breaks, I think.
Okay.
And so they need to buy another drill, and it's like a $30 million drill.
Oh.
And they have this great joke where they're like, this drill helped do the channel. And then they go, I thought we already had that drill. And they said, well, this one was from the French side. So they use both channel drills.
I didn't really get it until now. Now you explain. I just was like, okay.
Yeah. Well, and if you missed them, say the first time, like it's the one that did the channel.
Yeah.
So they go to Terry and they're like, hey.
What do they mean by the French side?
Because it goes from France to Britain, the channel.
Oh, the channel.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
That's the key word that I was not putting together.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
And so they go to Terry and they're like, hey, there's this guy and we want to screw him and you don't like him either. It's just kind of like an enemy of my enemy is my friend.
I think he says something like, that man's hotel casts a shadow over my pool. Yeah. Every afternoon.
Yeah.
Take him down. But also he wants to profit from it. So he's ensuring that he's going to make fat cash, and he wants the diamonds on top of it. So they have to steal the diamonds now. And
I get it. It's not, I'm not saying this is a plot hole. It's just funny motivation wise, because he's like, you guys had to steal the diamonds, then you can do whatever you want with the diamonds. He could have just told them, steal the diamonds.
Oh, he doesn't want them for himself to like sell them off himself or anything?
No, but this is the whole thing. And I think it's just because he doesn't trust Danny Ocean, you know? But he's like, you can get the diamonds and do whatever you want. I just want them sold, or I mean, taken from him. But instead of just telling him to give him the diamonds because he wants them, he hires the Night Fox to steal them from them, so that he ensures that he gets them.
Okay.
But I do think
that I think I also missed.
Yeah, I think the idea is he's like, well, these guys screwed me out of $160 million or whatever, and he's like, no.
He's still bitter over it, even though they paid him back.
Yeah, he's like, there's no way that I'm gonna let them get away with this part, so I'm gonna pretend like I don't want to do it, so they won't expect it. Then the Night Fox will take it, and I'll have the diamonds.
Okay.
So that does that whole thing, and yeah, he tells them to break them in half.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, so later in the movie, Terry is enlisted. He becomes the 13th member, if you will. I always
remember having more of an integral role.
I know, me too. I didn't.
There's this. I think they do it maybe 1 or 2 times, but when they cut to him and he's watching everything happening the night of, and anytime they cut to him and he's like, "All right," and you can't help but think of them shooting it.
Yeah,
and it's just quiet and it's action, and he's staring at something he's staring at a screen. And
well, they're probably just showing him old Abbott and Costello's, and he's responding to them live.
All right. Nodding.
Who's on first? Yes.
It's so funny.
But yeah, when I watch these movies, I'm always trying to figure out, because I sometimes feel like it changes and whatnot, is like, who are the 11, who are the 12, who are the 13? And in the 12th one, I always think that Julia Roberts is the 12th member.
Yeah.
Even though Roman plays an integral part.
Not really.
Well, he designs the.
Yeah, but I don't. They hired him.
Yeah.
He's not profiting from the job.
Yeah. But
That's
then in this movie, because I was kind of like, who are the 13? Because Julia Roberts isn't in this one.
Oh.
But
well,
Terry,
wouldn't it be Roman this time?
That is actually on Wikipedia when I was scrolling through looking at stuff. The cast is called the 13, and it lists all of them, and Roman is the last listed. And then Terry is also in it. So Terry's the 13th.
Okay.
Yeah. So, cool. But I love, and I just remember this was like a big. There's a lot of shots in this movie where I just go, that was so heavily emphasized in the trailer.
Okay.
So one of them was Matt Damon. He got his title card. I'm pretty sure. People can check me on this, but Matt Damon steps out of the airplane and you see his big nose, and it would say starring Matt Damon.
Sure.
And then there was starring Don Cheadle, where he comes in the American outfit, and he's like, "What are you doing?" Whatever. And then the other shot, and I think it was like the tag after the trailer, when it says Ocean 13 coming this day, and then it does one more little scene, and it was where he's standing there with Terry, George Clooney.
Okay.
Standing there with Terry, and he's like, "You ready?" And he goes, "I was born ready." And then he walks away, and George Clooney just rolls his eyes.
Yeah, those are good trailer moments.
I know, sure. and those. So every time I watch it, those scenes specifically like really like jump out to me as like iconic, know. But yeah, so then they need a high roller to come in so that they can. Why do they need Yan to be a high roller in the movie? I'm like blanking right now.
Well, they need the suite, so they get a high roller to come in to get a certain suite, because they can get into the vent that would get to the diamonds.
Yep, that's right.
Okay.
Yep, you got.
And then he just bets a lot of money to, I think, to help everyone else win.
Yeah.
Based on, isn't that how that one game works? What is it? Roulette?
Craps.
Craps.
Yeah, I think it is. It's like
because people bet on him.
Yep, that's right.
Okay.
You bet on him, so if he wins big, you win big.
Okay. Wow, I feel good for getting that.
Yeah.
I don't get any poker anything.
Yeah. Well, that's not poker, but
you know what I mean. Gambling.
Gambling.
I don't get gambling.
Roulette is the circular one.
The spinning
where the ball
wheel
goes around, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Roulette seems like the easiest game because you just like
craps always seems fun in movies, but I don't get it.
Yeah,
maybe I do get it though, based on what I just said.
I think your dad.
It's just sometimes with gambling games, it's like, is it really that simple? And usually it is.
Yeah,
and then there's always like a ton of strategy that, well, especially with poker, but like strategy complicates it.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
The one thing though so I went to a casino last year, and it was like my first time at a casino.
It was
like gambling because I've been to Vegas, but I didn't do any gambling.
Oh, okay.
I was like seeing a show, and then we played some shows.
You've never done like a slot machine before?
No.
Oh,
So we were there, and I was like, you know what? I don't want to just do slots because that's easy. I want to play a game, so I'm going to play blackjack. And so I was like, okay, I got $50. I'm just going to do $50. And the thing that stunk, and Evan, who was with us, agrees about blackjack, is it's really fast. So it's like, it was like I was sitting at the table for like 10 minutes, and then all the money was gone.
Yeah.
So you can't like savor it.
Yeah.
Unless you start like really winning.
Right.
But yeah, it was definitely, there was a couple times where I was like, hit me or whatever, and the person's like, really?
Really?
And I was like, okay, don't. And they're like, yeah, okay.
Oh.
Because I did say, like, I've never played this before. I don't know what I'm doing. And so they kind of like...
They kind of helped
me. And then there were people at the table that were kind of like... They were very nice, but they were also kind of like, oh, dude, no. Like a couple times when I was like, oh yeah, do this thing or something. And I looked it up beforehand how to play, but I didn't.
But there's the strategy, so it's like even if you think that you know what you're doing, someone who's more experienced is like, I guess you could, but it'd be stupid.
Well, and your dad always talks about how he would gamble with your dad.
Yeah.
And your with your grandpa, and your grandpa would go to the craps tables. And he would just start shouting out all these phrases, yabba dabba, do, vada, vada. Okay. And he's like, I
remember this.
Yeah, and your dad's like, we had no idea, because he was with his friend. Like, we had no idea what he was talking about, but it was like one of the most fun things to witness.
So you're trying to drive excitement to get people to bet on him?
I think he was saying like expressions, like the equivalent of like hit me or like stay,
and I think
but like the
my dad's saying
versions.
He saw a side of his dad he had never seen before.
I think so, yeah. And thus a new gambler was born.
Oh.
But then in this movie, we see the FBI gets called.
Mm-hmm.
And they start getting involved.
Played by Funkhauser.
Yeah.
But what's his name? Is that his name? Isn't he play himself in Curb?
I think so.
I'll look it up while we're talking.
But it was funny because you had forgotten that was Matt Damon's dad.
Yes.
In the movie.
Yep.
And it is. It is. Are you going?
Yeah, Marty Funkhauser.
Okay, yeah. And I remembered that, of course. So him and Cherry Jones are married in this universe.
Yeah.
So I think that's fun. I know earlier I had railed against the lineage of thieves, but it's done well and funny.
Well, they talk about his parents since movie one, so I don't have an issue with this.
And it's not a prequel movie.
No.
Come on. So, let's see. Then the movie's clipping along, and then they're talking about Ruben in the Vegas morning as they get the reprise of the Fountain song from Ocean's 11. Pitt and Clooney like walk by the fountain. It's not on. It's in the morning. And then you're hearing the brung, bung, 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 bung. But it's synths and Rhodes this time. So
cool.
It's kind of updated and a little bit different. Rhodes are a type of, like, they look like a keyboard, but they just have like a specific sound.
Oh, okay.
That you hear all the time. But yeah.
So then they do it. Then they do the heist. And I know we've been talking about it. Yeah. Kind of the fun thing about these movies is, as they're explaining it, it is kind of actually happening. There's not a lot of like, they explain what they're going to do, and then you have to sit through what they're doing.
So was this the movie that you, because when we watched Ocean's 11, you had said that one of the movies you remember like it's going along and they're explaining everything, and then kind of halfway through you're like, oh, it's happening. I didn't realize that.
I want to say that was the first movie.
Okay.
No.
Because I do feel like...
The second movie. I don't know. I think they all kind of do it, and I just think it's always one movie.
Yeah.
But I think it's all of them. Because it's kind of the template.
I kind of feel like the first half of this movie does feel... It feels like they're explaining it, but then once it says opening night...
That's when they do it.
You're like, oh, all that stuff that they explained, they did.
Yeah, so it's definitely not this movie.
Oh, no, I was saying it kind of feels like this movie in a way. Because the first hour, they'll be like...
what you just described.
No, hang on. The first hour, they'll be like, we need to do this, 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 and this. And then by the time they say the grand opening, all those things were not like hypothetical. They did actually do all of them.
I understand.
Yeah.
I meant it more as the movie... It's like... I don't feel like explaining it. Let's just keep going.
Yeah, so then they're getting started the night before.
I like that they keep joking about soft openings and grand openings.
Yeah.
So this is the grand opening.
Yes.
That's the whole point, is they wanted to do it on... Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is that scene the day before where George Clooney's watching Oprah, and he's crying, and
crying,
then
and
Brad
then
Pitt comes
and him
in.
just stare at the TV. Oh my gosh, yeah, it's so funny.
Again, movie star stuff.
Yeah,
and there's also
when Brad's like, "Are they really getting that house?"
Yeah. And it's not just about the house. It's like what it's doing for these kids and stuff. But yeah, and the camera also dollies into like the glass, the fisheye lens that you look out when you're in your hotel.
Yeah.
The peephole. And I couldn't like wrap my head around how they did that.
Do you think it was a specific lens they were using?
I don't know, but it looked so good and it was kind of nuts.
Yeah.
We also get the great quote, "The nose plays, oh, the nose plays," when Matt Damon asks them about it. The nose plays. Oh, the nose plays. That's what Brad Pitt says.
So they through some finagling and figuring things out, they have to kind of alter their plan. Oh, it's because of the diamonds.
Uh-huh.
And one of the things they have to do is seduce his right-hand man, the lady.
Yeah.
And Matt Damon's like, "I'm ready. I'm doing it."
I'm so deep in Pepperidge, I don't even think I just react.
What is Pepperidge?
That's the name of the person he's playing.
That is
your
so
nostrils
funny.
flared when you laughed.
That is so funny. Much like Matt Damon's fake nose. Drop my phone again.
I got it.
So yeah, he has to seduce this woman who's known to be a bit of a cougar. And when they're like figuring it out, it's like, okay, Rusty will do it. And Matt Damon's like, no, it's going to be me. And they're like, okay. And then Rusty can do that. And he's like, no, guys. And then he says the quote that you said. And they let him do it. All of that stuff is so funny. So he puts on pheromones and she is like so funny.
Now,
with her coming after him.
The pheromones, we both said, oh yeah, that's the most unrealistic thing.
It's real? No, we didn't say it was unrealistic. I just said by that point in the movie, this feels like the most fantastical one out of the three.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you about a website called .com. Whether you are in a committed relationship or you are still looking for the right woman, the Gilroy is safe to use every day. Dab a little on after your shower and you will find yourself attracting women wherever you go.
Ugh.
It doesn't mean you have to entertain the thought of dating women you meet, but it will give you the opportunity. However, it is important that you don't add too much. Once you put it on for the day, don't add more unless you completely wash off the first application to avoid repelling women. The Gilroy isn't just a fictional product that was used in a film to further the plot. Instead, it is a real product offered by True Pheromones. This powerful mixture of pheromones provides you with all the benefits of the individual pheromones that are included in the product.
Are you on the business website?
Yeah, it is safe to use every day and can help you find the woman of your dreams. If this product doesn't work for you, we guarantee it. Just like all our other products, you will find the woman of your dreams or you will get your money back.
How much?
Look at the website.
How much?
Oh, I don't know.
$20 off 20% off your order. Okay.
I'm actually going to beep out the name of this website because I don't want them to have any sort of promotion from this podcast. But what's funny is I am now going to have to live with Instagram ads, Facebook ads, Google ads, everything telling me about pheromones.
Doesn't give me prices. I'm so curious how much these things are.
I think it's kind of like a snake oil thing. I don't think it's actually a real thing.
Recommended for use in these settings: workplace, school, bars, restaurants, shopping malls, gym.
Does it say like not at church?
Jenny, 31 from California, says True Essence, a must-have. Be careful with this one. And the pictures of these people are not real.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Are they like so insanely hot? It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marcus, 36 from New York, works like a charm. Never go without it.
You know, if it does work for anyone, the only thing it's doing is it's boosting someone's confidence. So they're being more confident and maybe they're, slinging some dates.
This is a 5-star. I wear this every time I leave my house. Never know what could happen. And they're fake because for some reason, every sentence, everyone, okay, the first sentence always ends in a period or an exclamation point. The second sentence has no punctuation at all at the end.
I wonder, could you scroll down to the bottom of the website and see where it says the company's from?
It doesn't say.
Oh, it doesn't say like TM.
It just says copyright 2023.
Okay.
Anyway,
yeah. So
he uses pheromones and she's basically ripping her clothes off. And he convinces her, like, where can they go that's more private?
Yeah.
And they go up to the room with all of the diamond necklaces, and he, while she's getting drinks, is setting charges around the display.
And just to finish off the diamond thing.
Yeah.
Then his dad comes in, arrests him. You don't know it's his dad yet. And then they get in the elevator.
I like what they say. This man is known for seducing women of a certain age.
Yeah. And then he rips off his nose, and she has a big reaction to that. And then they get in the elevator, and you see him, like, the shot is his handcuffs, and he undoes them, and they start kind of like arguing, like him and his mom.
Yeah, he just says something like, if your mother would have seen that, like, she would have been appalled.
Yeah. And then they get up there, and he's got the diamonds around him. And it is funny because I think the first time you're just like, when did he switch out the diamonds?
Yes.
Like, that's so weird. And then did you notice the Night Fox in the shot?
No, you asked me while we were watching.
Oh, I couldn't remember.
That was like 3 days ago.
and like 37 baby wake ups in this recording. But the Night Fox, like, he's like dressed up as the outline, like, design on the hotel, and then he walks out, and he's got a gun.
Mm-hmm.
He steals the diamonds, jumps off of the building, and then a helicopter pulls up.
The gun's not even loaded.
Yeah.
But yeah, he jumps off the building, and then Basher comes with the helicopter. They explode the charges. They get the diamonds.
Yeah.
Funny.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But before that, Clooney comes in, and Clooney brings in all of the whales that he got out to stay out of opening night. And he brings them in. And
he got them to stay out? How?
He, like, paid them off, did all this other stuff. Yeah, he was like, don't go to the opening. And then he comes with them. And when he walks in, it's like, holy cow, this movie star is a movie star.
Oh my gosh, he's wearing a tux. He looks great.
He looks incredible. I mean, this is his best looking movie, I think.
They're all, each one's better than last, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But then Al Pacino's like, okay, I will give you 10% of 10%. their losses. And he goes, no, you think I'd bend over like that for, like, this is for Saul, I'm screwing you. And he goes, 20%. And then he goes, okay. And it's all part of the plan. So the whales come in, and they're now going to bet, and he's going to get 20% of their losses. But then they kick out the 5 diamond guy. They have the Gilroy scene, which I also mentioned is shot very old school. Like, it looks like how an old,
What's Gilroy?
The Gilroy, the pheromone thing.
Oh.
It's shot kind of like an old romantic movie would be shot in the 80s. Love that. And then throughout all of this, they just keep showing that there's like a stunt driver. They just keep showing it and showing it. Much like The Bag in the second movie. And you're kind of like, okay, what is the stunt driver thing? So then they trick this stunt driver so that Don Cheadle can get in this outfit so that they can edit all of the FBI
He can distract
pictures.
Spank while our computer dude has been arrested by the FBI, which means they got to get someone else to alter everyone's faces. They get Casey Affleck to do it. So he's down there with his brother. It's so funny, altering everyone's face. And then I love afterward, his brother, I think, is Virgil or something. You know, he compliments him and is like, you did a really good job there. He's like, yeah, that's why they didn't ask you. Yeah. And they just, their classic banter. He's like, you know, I'm just trying to give you a good compliment. And yeah, really, really good.
Yeah. So then Basher, oh, you just said that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny scene.
Yeah, and then throughout this, they basically, like, they fake the earthquake, they trigger the AI to turn off because Al Pacino goes in there. He's gotten the Nokia phone from the 5 Diamond Award. I think he thinks it's 5 Diamond. No. Earlier in the movie, he'd ordered the Nokia phone because he said, "I want the first one ever, and I want it."
From who? Because I thought Yen had like a relative that worked at Samsung or something.
Yeah.
And that's how they like made him this special phone.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it'll like turn off the AI.
Yeah.
So he goes into the AI thing because he's like, did it shut down? Did it shut down?
I don't think that turns off the AI. I think it just disrupts it because it's
it has to reboot.
It's the earthquake that makes it shut down.
No, it's not.
It's not?
No. Because the earthquake goes and he runs in there and he's like, what happened? What happened?
Keeps him stuck in there.
And they're like, uh-oh, it didn't. And you're seeing the Ocean's crew and they're like, it didn't work. It didn't work. But then he goes in there and he gets a call and the guy's like, how do you have service in here? And he's like, I got this sweet phone. And the phone is the thing that Roman had mentioned a long time ago, which is like a nuclear blip machine or something. Okay. So then it shuts down the AI.
I like before that you see Brad is at a slot machine, leaves a coin there, and this woman comes and puts it in the slot, and she wins like $30,000 or $1 million.
Yeah.
And the AI is seeing if it's authentic.
Yeah.
And her pupils dilating, her heart rate's going correctly. Like she actually
an authentic win.
Won the money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it shuts down, and when it shuts down, they're all locked in the room.
Yeah, for 3 minutes.
Yeah. And so then in this 3 minutes is when they have to rob the casino. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of fun. It's like the people win.
Yeah.
It's not the oceans. So
although they are like they have the rigged dice with the lighters. Or something with the card machines.
Yep.
The card
and the roulette
counters,
wheel.
Roulette wheel. Oh yeah, the little balls they use. I do like that one guy that they got earlier, where Clooney's like, "We'll need your help, but you'll know when we need it."
Yeah.
And so then later on, I think Bertie, I don't know if it was him or someone else, came up to him and was just like, "Here are the new things," and he might have given him money, and he's like, "This is the time."
And then it just starts going.
And then it's the great thing that you've
I love this is one of my favorite scenes.
It's like the camera's panning all throughout the casino, and there's dollar signs by everyone's heads on how much money they're winning.
Yeah,
so good. I love it.
And so they definitely clear the $500 million they're trying to steal. But then their exit plan, they have to make it seem like an earthquake. Otherwise, everyone's just going to bet this money, and the casino will still win. And they do
That's what it is. Okay.
Yeah. So they do it, and then it's not quite enough. And then they're like, Basher, like, go to town, make this thing shake. And then he's going, and it starts really shaking, and he's trying to shut it down. And then you have Brad Pitt be like, looks like our luck turned around. Let's all cash out. And so everyone starts running, and they're like cashing out their chips and stuff. Yeah. And then Al Pacino gets out and he runs and he goes to the front.
Wait. I like that they had the one guy from the first movie. I think they also used him in the second movie, but the guy in the first movie that beat up Clooney, he was there. And it's almost like they, he's an old friend. They tipped him off and they were like, hey, if you want to make a lot of money this night, come here on this night and do this thing. And he probably made millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
And so then they all run out. Pacino gets out. It's been 3.5 minutes. He goes to the front and he talks to like his head, like
it's like get it back in here.
And he's like, it's the evacuation plan that you.
Yeah, we have to follow it.
Yeah, which Russ had got him to do at the beginning of the movie. Mm-hmm. And then he sees the helicopter fly away with the diamonds.
And he sees Clooney walk out. Yes. And Clooney's like, you shook Sinatra's hand.
Yeah.
You don't forget about that or disrespect that or whatever he says.
Yeah, and then he says something like, I'm going to hire guys to get you. And he says, I know all the guys you'd hire to get me, and they like me better.
Basically, like, this guy comes into this town and thinks he can just buy it.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, this is our town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then This Town by Frank Sinatra plays as fireworks go off, and we see our characters. And then we meet up with Saul again, and he thanks Basher. He says the letters are what brought him back, which is very cute. And then Terry's on Oprah because they donated his money to.
Well, Terry, realize, or we see the Night Fox. I think Clooney or Rusty is on the phone with Terry and is like, "You think we'd actually let you steal the real diamonds?" And then we cut to the Night Fox who's just on the street. Just had stolen the diamonds.
He sees the helicopter, throws the diamonds,
checks the diamonds, and he's like, "Oh my gosh!" and just throws them in the dumpster. And then the money that was actually they agreed to pay Terry from all of this. It's like, where's his money? Well, they donated it to charity, so it's not like he's going to take the money back.
Yeah,
and
which, by the way, if they do this next movie, they have to team up with the Night Fox. I think.
Oh, I agree, but I love the line when Terry's like, "Is this supposed to make me happy?" And I think Clooney says, well, it sure as shit isn't sad.
Yeah, yeah.
And just leaves. It's so funny. And then he's on Oprah. Looking great.
Yeah.
Even on Oprah.
I know. And then he's like, yeah, I'm working with
it's really always just about the kids. I'm always thinking about how we can help the kids. It's so funny.
And then the Five Diamond guy is still trying to get out of Vegas. And I guess the implication here is that they planned, they've been stalling to keep him there so that they could get this machine rigged so that they could then make this guy win money.
Yeah. Good for him.
And he does, and then it's over.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the Ocean trilogy.
It's great. I do think this is the weakest one, like I said.
Yeah.
I think it's less funny. It's less funny than the first two.
Yeah.
Still so entertaining. Still so fun to watch. Great people to look at.
Uh-huh.
But yeah.
Yeah, it lacks just a bit, but it doesn't bug me.
No,
you know?
I'd watch it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, these movies are great. I hope this episode wasn't too crazy, but we literally had to stop so much because
of the baby.
Baby was
we got a
teething
baby with sleep regression, getting over a little cold.
So it was there was part of me that was like, do we just not even do this episode? And I never get pushed to that point, but I really was kind of like, do we just skip this one and just do Ocean's 8 next week? I don't know.
If we're gonna skip an episode, it better be Ocean's 8.
No, I know. That's part of it, where it's like, do I really want to treat one of my favorite movie series like this? So I'm looking at the calendar. And of course, on Patreon, you can listen to our episode on Tron as we begin our MPU Legacy, and talk about Legacy sequels. Get us to 50 patrons, and we'll release our Pixar podcast. Next week, it's Ocean's 8, and then the week after that, we start a new series. It's a trilogy of horror movies. Do you know what it is?
I must have picked it.
You did, my friend.
Trilogy. Oh, The Ring.
The Ring.
Yeah.
We're going with the
Gore
American.
Verbinski.
Yeah, American version, not the Japanese. Yeah. Yes, kicking it off with Gore Verbinski. So, check it out at your local library. And for those of you that are squeamish, I think they're PG-13 movies. So,
yeah.
But the first, I've only seen the first one, and it was terrifying.
Yeah.
That video, it genuinely seems like you're not supposed to watch it. I don't know how. We'll talk all about it in a couple weeks. But
the Amber Tamblyn stuff at the beginning is bone chilling.
Don't remember
how it was shot.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Folks, give us a rating on Apple.
Okay.
See you next week.